Ever notice how the moments you most want to disappear are the very moments you most need to be seen? We've all felt that awkward tug, one part shame and one part aching to pour out our whole heart and hope nobody laughs. There's a story in the Bible about a woman with an alabaster jar who steps straight into that tension and she breaks it wide open. So stick around and we're going to dive into that story. Hi, I'm Howard, pastor of the Roseville New Church, and welcome to Spiritual Shorts. Mary's apparent reckless act might just rewrite the way you show love today. Our story appears in the Gospel of John, chapter 12. It's Saturday night, 6 days before the Passover. Jerusalem itself is teeming with pilgrims. The religious leaders have already decided that Jesus must die. After the Sabbath sun sets, friends gather for a meal at the home of Simon. Once a leper, Simon was healed by the Lord. Lamb is roasting in ovens, and the tension is hanging with the smoke. Jesus reclines at the table. Lazarus, fresh from the tomb himself, chats beside the Lord. Martha hustles along with some dishes. Mary glides in, carrying an alabaster flask, marble smooth, sealed, worth a year's wages. Snap, she breaks the neck. No putting the cork back in now. And the fragrance floods the room as she pours every shimmering drop on the Lord's head and on his feet. His burial anointing in advance. Gasps fill the room. Dagger eyes. Judas rattles his mental calculator. That perfume was worth 300 denarii. Jesus answers, "Leave her alone. She has done a beautiful thing for me. And wherever this gospel is preached, her story will be told." And it is. This story is told in all 4 of the Gospels, preserved for us. So what's really happening here? Well, picture the flask not as a bathroom bottle of lotion, but as a family safety net, an inheritance-grade security. You see, in the symbolic language of the Bible, the vessel is everything external. Status, bank accounts, schedules. The oil that's inside, well, that's our warmest love for the Lord and for the neighbor. When Mary shatters the neck of the flask and the fragrance fills the air, she's saying, "Love, it's not for later, it's for now." No more hiding compassion behind, "Well, someday I'll do it," or, "when I can afford it." It leaves us with the question, so what's your alabaster jar? Is it the song that you only sing in the shower because you're afraid somebody will laugh at your voice? Or is it the Saturday you've set aside to binge watch, even though a teenager down the street could really use a mentor? Maybe it's that apology you've rehearsed but never quite picked up the phone to deliver. If a memory just surfaced for you, a could have loved moment, don't dwell in the regret. The Lord is more concerned about what you're about to do than what you've failed to do. The perfume, it's still inside you. It's just as potent. And all it takes is courage to crack that jar open today and let the room fill with its fragrance. But Howard, we need to be practical too. Whenever generosity starts looking extravagant, somebody dusts off Judas's spreadsheet. Volunteer at the local Vinnie's? Oh, I'd better grab another shift at work instead. Send my niece a birthday gift? You know, she never really thanked me for last year's. Stewardship can be led by holy wisdom, but sometimes it can also be led by fear wearing a green visor. And how can we tell the difference? Well, ask yourself, does my caution protect people, or does it protect my comfort from the scent of generosity? If it's the latter, well, I'm watering down worship with a calculator. Let's cast our minds back to the 2019-2020 bushfire season. Our skies were the color of rust. I recall a story of a cafe owner down south who'd closed one day a week right at the peak tourist season so that he could cook meals for the exhausted firefighters. Neighboring businesses did warn him, "Mate, you'll torch your profits." But he just smiled. Some things taste better than money. When the danger passed and things began to return to normal, the cafe actually grew. Regulars said, "Boy, the place smells different, like wood-fired generosity." That's Mary in an apron, breaking the jar and filling the room with its odor. Now, that tale might be apocryphal, but you get my point. Swedenborg calls heaven a kingdom of uses. Everyone's joy flows from doing something useful for someone else. And the highest use, loving the Lord above all, which we do by pouring our first fruits into our neighbors, not the leftovers. Prime time, not spare minutes. So here's a challenge for this week. Identify your jar. What costly thing are you guarding? Break it deliberately. Book the visit. Click send on that apology. Clear your Saturday and pick up the phone. Inhale the fragrance and watch how the air shifts inside of you. And notice who else starts breathing easier. Your alabaster jar, whatever this is for you, was never meant to decorate the shelf. It was made to be broken open, to pour out, to drench the world in a scent that refuses to ration itself. God bless you, and share your love with a world that needs it this week. Thank you for joining me for this episode of Spiritual Shorts. If you get a moment, please give it a like. Maybe even share it with somebody who needs to hear this message today.